Welcome back, everyone. Next up, we have Starco Brands, trades on the OTCQB under the symbol STCB, and invents and acquires consumer products and behavior-changing technologies that spark excitement in the everyday. Please welcome its CEO, Ross Sklar. Nice to see you, Ross. How are you today?
I'm well, thanks. How are you?
Wonderful. We look forward to your presentation, so the floor is yours, and call me back when you're ready for questions.
Sounds great. Hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm going to walk you through a little bit of our presentation. So the real point of Starco Brands is we have set out to really create a 21st century consumer products powerhouse. For us to really get involved in a product or a technology, it has to hit a bar of being what we call as behavior changing. So I'm just not going to use the word innovation. Everybody's innovative. This is really something that if it's adopted by a consumer has the ability to change one's habitual behavior for the better, which is a really high bar from a technological vantage point. So we're operators and chemical formulators by trade in a variety of different categories that we're going to get into. So we invent products, but we also make like-minded acquisitions. We grew from one brand in 2020 to our current portfolio of 5 brands today. Our projected net revenues for 23 are somewhere in the $70 million range. It's triple-digit growth over last year. We've really scaled tremendously in the last year, and since sort of the operational timeline of when we kind of started true operational operations for the company has been about 2 years. We also employ a marketing playbook that's a little bit different. It's very impactful. We're very efficient in our communications. We really go after experiential marketing, which tends to have kind of big swings and big awareness campaigns rather than sort of getting caught in pay-to-play advertising. And importantly, to be able to sort of do this or attempt this, we've got a really long track record of commercializing really interesting consumer products in the personal care space, in OTC pharma, which also includes things like sun care, and then into food, beverage, and into spirits. High level, here's our team. I'm the founder and chairman and CEO. We've got Darren Brown as our chief operating officer, 20 years of mergers and acquisitions and finance, also comes out of the chemical background, is a technical operator, very savvy operator. David Dreyer is our chief marketing officer. He's worked for, comes kind of out of the ad world, worked for many big CPG companies, very hands-on creative and an excellent operator. And we've got Kevin Zaccardi, who's our chief financial officer that came from one of our acquisitions, who's a real additive team member. And this brings us into sort of how we create incredible brands that are behavior changing based on, again, behavior changing technologies with a focus of really creating spark and enjoyment in everybody's kind of everyday life. So I'm going to turn it over. We're going to put on a corporate video from here. Is that being played?
Introducing Starco, the world's most modern CPG company. We think it, we make it, we market it, we scale it. With access to manufacturing and R&D facilities nationwide, developing products across 8 consumer product categories. A powerful, vertically integrated infrastructure. We leverage that infrastructure to produce our own brands. Power brands. Power brands that change behavior and spark joy in the everyday. Whip Shots, the world's only vodka-infused whipped cream.
Whip Shots!
Brilliant idea.
Let me grab it for you.
Yeah.
Winona, movie theater popcorn at home.
So I found this at Walmart, and we're going to try it out. Oh, it smells so good.
Sklar, the world's first fragrance that's hypoallergenic and safe for sensitive skin. Art of Sport, the grooming portfolio that we are transforming into a total sport lifestyle brand. Soylent, the complete non-dairy nutrition brand made accessible to all. This is about reliability, a powerful infrastructure that ensures a solid supply chain. This is about scalability, power brands invented and acquired with unlimited returns. This is about creativity, world-class products and technologies brought to life by a world-class marketing team. This is about opportunity, your chance to become a part of the world's most creative, fully integrated CPG company. This is Starco, and this is just the beginning.
On your left. Great. Okay. So here you can see really the brands in the portfolio today. Whip Shots, which is a really fun, little flirty, a little sexy, tremendous innovation in the spirits category. This is a non-dairy, shelf-stable, doesn't require refrigeration, vodka-infused whipped cream. It's a big innovation in that category. It actually took us about 3 years in the lab to solve and then to scale up our manufacturing. Once we kind of perfected the product and it was stable, it was really important to make sure that this was a product that didn't require refrigeration, because as a spirit, our intent is to garner the real estate behind the bar, which is coveted real estate. And it also, lowers shipping costs, and you don't have to go in the refrigerated aisle, which at retail is one of the most expensive places in the store. So there's a really significant amount of intellectual property in this product. And so once we kind of finished it, we decided who, we thought would be a tremendous fit from a media and authenticity standpoint, from a celebrity or influencer. And we did a really interesting transaction with Miss Cardi B, who's, global entertainer, hip hop artist. Her social footprint is somewhere around 300 million. And so Whip Shots was born, and we launched it effectively New Year's from 2021 into 2022. This product scaled extremely quickly. It became the fastest growing spirit in the United States in 2022. Very high margin profile, now into Walmarts and other broader retail. In 18 months, product's now available in about 30,000 doors across the United States, and really has just been a tremendous juggernaut. After that, we acquired a company called Art of Sport, which was actually founded by Kobe Bryant, a men's grooming line, really pointed to for athletes. Very, very high-end premium line. We bought that out of venture capital. We see that as a tremendous growth engine into a variety of different categories, not just only into personal care, into nutrition, beverage, protein shakes, even into the OTC category of the Icy Hots or BioFreeze or those sorts of products. So we see a lot of potentiality with Art of Sport. We also purchased a company called Sklar, which was really the first in hypoallergenic fragrances for sensitive skin. Fragrances are typically notorious for low disclosure of ingredients. Sklar really bucked that trend. This caught the eye of Sephora incubation program and went through Sephora, is very tied into the executive of Sephora. This business is going to pass 10 million in revenue this year, over 75% margins. We're looking at different celebrity partnerships to really take this brand to the next level. It's a very robust retail business through Sephora, and also D2C. There's a pretty large community of D2C. We then acquired a company called Soylent, which is sort of coined the slogan of the world's most perfect food. This is effectively the highest plant-based, highest protein beverage on the market. And there's a section of the product line which is meal replacement, and there's also a section of the product line that caters around high protein beverages. And this is a very robust business. This has a D2C business in the mid 40 millions, 40, 44 million, 45 million, 50% margins on a D2C basis. Our expertise is really to acquire the company and expand its retail footprint. and also bring in certain celebrity and influencer. And so we see tremendous distribution growth for that product line. And lastly is our Winona popcorn spray, which is a really interesting kind of invented at home product. We brought some real innovation into the sort of static popcorn aisle that hadn't seen a lot of innovation. This product started out in its first year, did about 1.6 million in about 250, 300 Walmarts. Last year, it doubled in size as we got to 2,500 Walmarts. This year, we're now in 4,500 Walmarts and H-E-B and Meijer. And this product has the potentiality for real tremendous scale. We see this product triple-digit growth for next year. A little bit of a timeline of when we started. We kind of launched Winona first as an invention, Whipshot second as a follow-on invention, and then we started to make our acquisitions of Art of Sport and Sklar and Soylent. And so effectively this company in the last 18 months has gone from single-digit millions in revenue to now kind of mid-70s with real extensive organic growth coming in 2024, with also some potentiality of interesting M&A as follow-ons. What we really look for in these businesses to really be able to commercialize technology or look for an acquisition is, what are the competitive moats? We really need to understand where they are. If it's intellectual property or if it's in manufacturing or distribution and media, we really want to identify these competitive moats. Because again, the mission of the business is to only invent, create technologies and brands that are behavior changing, and also to make like-minded acquisitions. So cross-category manufacturing capabilities is really important. We have a dedicated manufacturing partner that we also own separately that allows us to really control our supply chain and not have laborious co-packer agreements on, which is a big advantage for the business. We only focus on game-changing technologies. We're not in the Me Too business. We're not here to compete on commodity products. We're looking for real competitive advantages, real intellectual property advantages. And then we want to marry that with disruptive marketing, right? We want to bring in not just any celebrity and put their name on a product. We're looking for authenticity. We're looking for celebrities and influencers where we can utilize their social footprint and ecosystem in an authentic manner that really moves the needle. And that's really what the retailers want to see, right? We're not in the times of buying 2 minutes after some Seinfeld or something, right? And the modern days, we're not stuck in buying Meta or Facebook ads, because that can be a dangerous spend too. We're looking for disruptive experiential marketing that allows us to reach a very broad populace and demographic. And also what we're bringing to the table, along with our capability to invent and commercialize products, is our M&A experience. We've been acquiring companies for the last 20 years. We've been acquiring distressed assets and finding a tremendous amount of value. And so we're bringing that expertise into Starco Brands. And so we've made 3 acquisitions that are highly strategic in a relatively short period of time. So we have this dedicated manufacturing partner. This is a private enterprise that I have a significant interest in, where we manufacture our own beverages, spirits, food products, and personal care products. And that infrastructure from a contract packing manufacturing vantage point is utilized by Starco Brands. And this is a tremendous advantage to the business. Again, not to be taken advantage of by other co-packing ingredients. We get to keep our intellectual property so there's no brain drain, and we really get to control our supply chain with transparency across the financial books of both businesses. So that's a real leg up for the business. We also have really, needed diversified distribution, right? We have a very substantial D2C business. We are direct.com players, obviously with Amazon and Walmart. GoPuff is a big partner, as well as Instacart. And then our brick and mortar distribution. We sell, virtually, every retailer in the nation of any consequence. But depending on the business unit, we'll have our key retailers, right? In beauty, we'll have our Sephora's. In our spirits, we'll have our Total Wines or our Bevmos or Liquor Barns. In our Soylent business, which is mass merchandisers, we'll have everyone from your Walmarts to your Walgreens and Kroger's, et cetera. So the distribution avenue is really key. Again, intellectual property, right? Innovation, things that can cause behavior change. It's really important. So here's kind of what's on deck, expanding through innovation and line extension. We just launched the Soylent Vanilla Protein Shake that has been extraordinarily well received. We had chocolate. The retailers were sort of begging for our next flavor. We just launched vanilla that has been very well received. And in Sklar, in fragrance, we've now expanded a little outside of fragrance, and we're showing the Sklar brand has elasticity to play in other categories, which is a really big deal and expands the total addressable market for that business. We just launched into hair, which is called the new hair and body mist through Sephora, and it has been a total winner. We've launched it in Sephora and also online. Whip Shots, we continue to innovate in flavor profile. We launched a number of really interesting flavors in 23, from a peppermint flavor to a lime flavor, and then now into the fall season, we launched pumpkin spice. And if you have seen the product or in the brand, you'll know, on TikTok, this thing became a runaway. It's had close to 500 million organic views on TikTok. So this has really touched the fabric, and that flavor has done extraordinarily well. For Winona popcorn spray today, it's one SKU, and it's butter flavor, and so we're launching caramel, and there'll be other flavors to come. And then in our Art of Sport line, which is getting a number of different products are getting relaunched in February, we're launching into sun care. And so this is a really interesting product where you can see that ratcheting arm, which ratchets up and down, so one can spray hard-to-reach areas like your back and so on and so forth. And it's a really interesting innovation for, whether you're on the golf course or mountain biking or surfing and you really need coverage, this allows you to get there. So there's a really interesting pipeline of innovation. Media. How do we ignite media? How do we pull off experiential marketing where, over the course of this last year, we've had, 6 billion earned media impressions across the portfolio. So we have a real understanding of how to create virality if we have the right authentic celebrity or influencer relationship. So with the creative marketing and with those relationships matched with a product that's game changing or behavior changing, you really start to check a number of the boxes that is required to pull off this kind of experiential marketing. So that's an important piece to the puzzle. Here you can see your TikTok, 600 million views, on Instagram, 300. It's become really a juggernaut, whether it's Winona, whether it's Sklar, whether it's Whip Shots. This is really where we're garnering most of our eyeballs. Here's Whip Shots again. This number keeps growing every time I look at it. So in 2 years, we've passed 4 million cans, which is, just a wild achievement for the team and for the company. And, we couldn't be more proud of that product and that launch. Sklar, this is a real Gen Z product. It's clean beauty. It's a pioneer in hypoallergenic. It's a Sephora darling. We bought this from a venture capital firm that had run into a liquidity crisis, but they had dumped, I think, close to 30 million in brand building. So we really got the benefit of that. And now we're strategically building out more innovation. We're adding new SKUs into the product. We're taking it in different categories. And we're also bringing the manufacturing in-house, which is really going to be, additive to EBITDA. This is just some of the Sklar things that we've launched this year. New fragrances, Boardwalk Delight. It fully sold out in Sephora in the first 10 days of launch. We did a really interesting collaboration with The Summer I Turned Pretty. If any of you know or have young daughters in your family or so on and so forth, this was a really big show on Netflix, since that was a really great collaboration. And then, of course, we launched Hair and Beauty, which has been a real success. Soylent is an interesting challenge because the product won the Kantar Research Survey Program. 40,000 people researched and voted on it, won Best Product of the Year for Best Taste. And this is a product that has less than 1 gram of sugar. So this is a real achievement from a formulary standpoint, but it has it's very high protein and non-dairy. And it's packed with sort of these functional ingredients so that you could really get a full meal replacement if that's what you're desiring. Where we're finding this product is winning hands down is when we do sampling in store. This is number one in Amazon's ready to drink meal. We're number one in Amazon. So in that replacement category, it's been really a home run. And every time we do sampling in store, sales jackknife because the taste profile mixed with the health benefits is very unique in the category, and it's one of the few plant-based products. Something else that's really interesting is that when we have a subscriber on our D2C platform for Soylent, the average lifespan is 3 years. So it's a very long time to have someone in the system and very low churn. So that's a really big deal. And we just recently did a really interesting collaboration with the podcast Smartless, which is Jason Bateman and Sean Hayes and Will Arnett, who are hilarious. And they've got a real affinity to the product. And we had a really interesting collaboration with them that went over very, very well. Getting more now into the organization of the product, how are we managing all these different acquisitions? How are we managing all these new technologies that we're launching? I mean, they're each individual businesses and they all deserve a tremendous amount of TLC. So the way we like to think about it is really the power of one, right? The consolidation, the integration, and then we look to amplify. And so these are the tenets of how we think about the business. We subscribe to a shared service model. In the nucleus, in the heart of Starco Brands, we consolidate everything from our sales force to our marketing teams, to our supply chain teams, to our logistics teams, all the way into admin and finance, et cetera, so that you have really a centralized hub that can start to service these business units. And as we make acquisitions, a lot of these units have their own departments, and that's where you find a tremendous amount of cost savings, where that's EBITDA accretive day one. Never mind the synergies that they're going to have through our distribution or manufacturing, et cetera. So again, consolidating where we use a shared resource plan, extraordinarily important. It allows us to win day one. Integration, which allows us to really optimize our e-commerce platforms or our retail, leveraging our fixed costs, very big deal. And the amplification is we really want to focus on we know what works. If you've seen what we've done with Whip Shots and Cardi, you've seen what we've done with Winona and how we're amplifying, or what we're doing with Sklar and how we're amplifying in social. These have really moved the needle for the businesses. Some of the key milestones this year: Whip Shots, sold over 130,000 cases in its first year. I think this year, in 2023, we broke 230,000 cases. Just to give some reference, the brand Casamigos, which is a tequila brand, that sold for about $1 billion based on around 100,000 cases a year. Granted, that was 5 years ago, so maybe valuations have come down. One of the latest comps is a spirits brand called Hellerhead that was owned by Dana White from the UFC. That recently just sold at $150 million based on 50,000 cases a year. So we've already moved this year 234,000 cases. So the valuation metrics for that kind of movement in spirits will be very compelling for this company. In 2023, we completed the Soylent acquisition that brought a tremendous amount of infrastructure to the table. And we passed that 2 million can, 3 million can, and now we've passed 4 million cans. I'm going to skip ahead here. Yeah. So the outlook for this year is that, we're setting guidance kind of in that $70 million range with, close to 10% on an adjusted EBITDA basis. It's just been a rocket ship. It's been tremendous growth. Our organic businesses, which are inventions that we've created and marketed and exploited through our capabilities of experiential marketing, has been tremendous. And our acquisitions have been really synergistic and tremendous. And we're really looking forward to a tremendous amount of organic growth in 2024. And we've got a very keen eye to the M&A market that is exciting as well. So I shall leave it there. Thanks very much, and open to any questions.
Great job, Ross. We do have some questions. Nick Morton says you've got 33 million in current assets. You're trading about 1x sales, and it looks like you just sent net positive. So why not do a small reverse and uplist to NASDAQ? That's his question.
It's a good question. And, we didn't birth this company to stay on the OTC. But the way we think about it is it's a really potentially savvy way to start a public business, is to start it on the OTC. Now, we're the OTCQB, which is effectively the highest reporting. And so what you want to do with companies that have tremendous ambition to be macro enterprises on a senior exchange, when you started on the OTC, this gives your team time to really develop the departments, really understand SEC reporting, really build out your FinOps, really build out this. So we consider this sort of the value build stage. And we've created a tremendous amount of value. We've got a very successful global asset. We're cash flow positive. We're EBITDA positive. We've got tremendous organic growth. We've got a couple more acquisitions that we're looking at. But patience is important, right? We happen to be in one of the worst, over the last year, worst markets in a generation. So it also gives us the ability to think about market timing and when's the right time. So it's completely on our radar every day, and we'll make the right decisions on when it's time.
Sounds like a good plan. Ezra Yates says, when you partner with a brand or product, what does the deal look like? Is it a revenue share? Are there other fees that you collect?
Every deal is different. But most of them, you've got to be able to at least confront three main boxes, right? If you're going to do a deal with celebrity influencers, so on and so forth. If they're really going to be involved, and it's not just a pay-to-play, some brand ambassador short-term deal, and this is going to be something that's long-term where both parties really want to participate in the upside, there has to be a capability for them to do that, participate on proverbial sales. Now, if they're coming into a mature business, maybe they don't participate on all the sales, maybe it's only on growth. So you have to kind of get customized about it. So you got to participate in some form with some sort of fashion of whether it's a kind of a commission or a royalty. That box usually needs to be checked. And then equity. If they're going to really put their heart and soul into this and you're going to use their, ecosystem of media and so on and so forth, and it's going to be a balance of power that you're bringing to the table, which is manufacturing or product or intellectual property or distribution, and they're going to bring what they bring to the table, then they want to have some piece of equity as well. And so that has to be negotiated. And that's equity in the brand. So if there's ever a divestiture of that brand, that they can participate as well. And then for us as a public business, is there potentiality of having equity in the whole thing, which is also going to be very compelling for somebody. So those are typically the boxes we pay attention to.
And a few more questions about your celebrity influence. Nick Sims wants to know, is this the model for jumpstarting all your products, this celebrity endorsement? And what is the margin on a celebrity endorsed product versus not using a celebrity?
First question, are we sort of tied to a celebrity model, is I think what that first part of the question is. And the answer is no. It's very dependent on what the product is. Like, let me give you an example. When we invented the Winona popcorn spray, the reason why we invented that product wasn't because we had some dying love of popcorn. I mean, everybody loves popcorn, sure. But as we know retail so well, so as we're analyzing the aisles and the shelves in retail, we want to search for areas that don't have a lot of technology or areas that have been static. And we, manufacture cooking sprays, in our private manufacturing business. So we've got a lot of core competencies in flavors and fragrances. So when we got to the popcorn aisle, the only thing we really saw was sort of Orville Redenbacher from the 50s or some chemical seasoning shaker seasonings. And so we kind of asked these questions about, well, what if you could spray it, right? Because you take your seasoning and shake, and it's all at the bottom of the bowl. But what if you could spray it and have larger coverage rates? And if you had something that was non-GMO or very low calorie, and over warm popcorn, the aroma is really going to affect olfactory, which hits the memory, and you've won. So you may not need this, large celebrity influencer if you can win at shelf or at impulse. And if the product is really amazing, you can have return purchase. And it's what's happened with Winona. To be honest with you, we haven't spent one penny on marketing in Winona, and this product is doubling year over year. So we don't necessarily, but a product like Whip Shots, which is an amazing product and tastes amazing and so on and so forth, understanding the demo that we're going to be going to, which is younger and fun and clubs and so on and so forth, to put, nitrous oxide on it and bring a Cardi B to the table, that makes a lot more sense. And so it's idiosyncratic on how we think about it. I'm sorry, what was the second part of that question?
The margin on a celebrity endorsed product versus not using a celebrity.
Look, we know consumer products so well. We know D2C margins can be higher. We know retail is powerful, but there's margin compression. And sometimes when you do celebrity deals, remember, they go for a certain period of time and then they're over. And then you have to make a decision. Do you want to re-up or do it again? So we typically have kind of a floor for margins. We don't want to commercialize products that are any lower than a 50% margin, because you're going to need that capital to either go into, let's call it marketing, whether that's into celebrity or you're going to buy it or it's in store or merchandising or so on and so forth. Like Sklar's margins are 75 and up. Winona's margins are 50 plus. Soylent's D2C margins are 50 plus. Retail's a little bit lower. Whipshot's are 75% margins. So if we can't play in a high margin business, we're out, because there's just not enough capital to be able to pay for those initiatives.
Well, we have a question from Kapil asking, what's Starco LA Bowl event in December? Talk about that, how it's going to impact growth.
The Starco LA Bowl is a monster event. Everyone's familiar with NCAA bowl games: Rose Bowl, Hawaiian Bowl, Cotton Bowl, Sugar Bowl. This is the LA Bowl. It's been hosted by Jimmy Kimmel for the last couple of years. Rob Gronkowski is now the new host, the Gronk, which is super exciting. It's at SoFi Stadium. It is nationally televised. Starco Brands has become the name sponsor. So it's the Starco Brands LA Bowl at SoFi. Starco's effectively going to own SoFi for 2 days, which is going to be insane. There's 5 national commercials for Starco Brands. 2 or 3 of them are going to be used corporate commercials. The rest are going to be for specific products. I think it's going to be in something like 20 million households across the United States and into Canada and Mexico. We're super excited. The Gronk is, we filmed him and I together a national commercial that's going to be going on. It's one of our first big swings as a company to have a massive media event from a corporate vantage point that will also showcase all of our brands. And we really couldn't be more thrilled about that.
Well, good luck with that. Ross, we have more questions for you, but we're out of time. So I just want to give you about a minute for some closing remarks, and then we'll send you these questions so you can answer our viewers on your own time.
Thanks very much for tuning in. You know, one of the biggest questions I get these days is, you know, how come we haven't heard of you as a corporation? And, you know, do you think you're undervalued? And it's a tough question for me to answer as CEO. I look at our market capitalization, which is great. And I look at the size of our business and where we're going. And, you know, I think we're building something really compelling. So thanks everybody for tuning in.
Thank you so much. Great presentation, great work. And we'd love to continue on your journey in 2024 with some updates. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. Stay with us, everyone. We'll be right back with our next presenter.